Yo, my name is Sebastian. So in my last video, I talked about why having good credit is important and how credit scores work. Now, if you watch that video, you have a good understanding of how to increase your score, and you probably had a bright idea to start applying for a bunch of credit cards. But hold up, not so fast. Just pump the brakes just a little bit. Credit cards can be a great tool to build your score and for incentives like travel points, but it could also destroy your credit and destroy your life by putting you in this never-ending cycle of constantly paying off high interest debt. So when I moved to the States, I was told to never get a credit card because they will steal all my money and put me in debt. So have you ever heard anything similar, like credit cards are bad or evil? Well, the people that say that are both right and wrong. Let me explain. So let's first talk about how credit card companies make money. Now, the term credit card company is really referring to two different organizations. So on one hand, we got the card issuers, so like banks and credit unions that issue the credit card. And on the other hand, you have the networks. And these are the companies that process the transaction. So like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. So first, they make money by charging fees to merchants, also called interchange. So whenever you spend money and use your card, say you go to Walmart and you spend $100, you might think that Walmart gets the full amount, but they don't. Credit card companies, that charge them 1 to 3% just to process the transaction. So Walmart gets $97 to $99, and the credit card issuer splits the difference with the network. So credit card companies make money just by you using the card. And that's why they're always advertising or always have some sort of promotion with rewards, points, or miles. I mean, they're not offering these things because they like you. They just want you to constantly be using their cards so that they can make money every single time. Now, second, they make money by charging us, the consumers, all sorts of fees. Annual fees. Now, these usually come with cards with high rewards or cards for people with bad credit. Now, the average annual fee is around $60. Now, that might not sound like a lot for a whole year, but when you consider that these companies have hundreds of millions of customers, that starts adding up real fast. Cash advance fees. If you use your credit card to get money from an ATM, on top of the ATM fee, you'll pay a 2 to 5% fee just to get the money. Now, because the money that you get is still from a credit card, it's still borrowed money, you'll pay interest on that. And often that interest is higher than the interest you would pay on a regular purchase. Balance transfer fees. Now, say you have a high credit card bill and paying a lot of interest. You could do a balance transfer, which is basically transferring your debt to a different credit card with lower interest or no interest for a certain amount of time. Now, that transfer is going to cost you 3 to 5% of the amount being transferred. And then we got late fees. So that one is pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you have a bill that it's due, if you don't pay the minimum payment, then you're going to pay a late fee. And that definitely hurts your credit big time. And finally, you can even be charged a fee if you go over your limit. Now, say that your limit is $1,000 and you spend $1,500, then you'll be hit with a fee. Now, that also makes your usage rate super high, so your credit score is definitely going to take a hit. The third way they make money is by selling our data. So our spending habits, like where we buy, what we buy, and when we buy, are all valuable information that companies use to keep us buying more stuff. You can actually call your credit card companies and tell them that you don't want your information to be shared, but I wouldn't care too much about that. The data being sold is sold in bulk to companies that only care about consumer trends. So they're looking at the behavior of a big part of the population. So they don't specifically care about where Sebastian buys his clothes this September. The fourth way they make money and where they get the biggest chunk is from the interest that they charge when you don't pay your bill in full. Now, the average interest on credit cards is more than 16%. Now, you might be wondering, like, why is this so high? I'm really glad you asked. Let me tell you. Apart from being greedy, they do have to protect themselves. Credit cards are typically not secured by anything. So if you don't pay your car note or if you don't pay your mortgage, they could take those collaterals back. So they are considered hard assets. If you don't pay your credit card, they really don't have anything to take back. So they take a lot of risk by lending you money. So So they charge you a lot for that. That interest is compounded daily on the balance that you owe. So you pay interest on day 1, and on day 2 you pay interest on the new balance. So interest on interest. And you do the same thing on day 3 and so on. So if you watch my compound interest video, then you know how powerful it is. And when that is compounded like every single day, then you end up paying a lot of money. Paying credit card interest is where most people get in trouble, and it's why credit cards could be detrimental to somebody's financial position. Most people make purchase decisions based on their emotions. So when you buy that 60-inch 4K curved TV that you can't even afford with your own money, you don't buy it because it makes financial sense. You buy it because you think you want that TV. You're thinking about how much greater sports are going to look on that TV. You're thinking about how much better the drama is going to get on the next episode of Bachelor in Paradise. You're thinking about what people are going to say when they come to your house. Debt is so common in America that people just grow up thinking that it's normal. Like, everybody does it, so why wouldn't I, right? You can't buy a car or a house outright. Well, put a down payment and finance the rest. That's what everybody does. You can't afford that TV, that furniture, these clothes, that jewelry, these electronics. I mean, well, Bill and Susie make less or as much money as we do, and they have these things. Let's just put it on a credit card and make small installment payments until we pay it off. If you have kids, then it's even worse because all rational decisions just goes out the window. You just want the absolute best for your kid. So whether you can afford it or not, that really doesn't matter because you just want to do what's best for them. When you make these purchases, you first make the mistake of only thinking about the small monthly payment and not considering the insanely high interest. You're also not aware of every time that you make a purchase of something that you wanted, you get a small adrenaline rush, and that makes you feel good and happy inside. That behavior is addictive and makes you want to keep buying more because of how it makes you feel. But that feeling is short-lived because whatever you ended up buying doesn't make you happy for very long. Soon, that thing is old news, that thing is not new anymore, and you get used to it. Now you're looking for the next deal, the next sale, the next rush. And credit card companies capitalize on these irrational thoughts and behavior and on the lack of financial knowledge that most people have. So yes, credit cards can be bad and have you trapped in a vicious cycle, especially if you don't have the knowledge about how they work and how to use them responsibly. But that's not you. You're watching this video and will continue to expand your financial education so that you too can play the game. Now, are credit cards all bad? I mean, of course not. And I'll talk about the good and how credit cards can benefit you in my next video. People misuse credit cards so much that I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of the danger that they present first. By understanding how they make money and by knowing that their marketing targets the uninformed by making you believe that you can afford anything, you'll be better prepared and won't make or keep making the mistakes that so many others are making. That's all I got for today. If you think this video was helpful, like, comment, share, tag a friend, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Peace!